Whenever you're ready.
Whenever I'm ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready, man.
You don't know if you're ready?
I'm generally concerned about my well-being at the moment, only because of
Do you want me to introduce?
No, I got it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geekcast podcast. My name is Greg St. Clair.
Dan Whitehead.
And unfortunately, Patrick could not be with us tonight. He has a final tomorrow morning.
Damn finals.
And he's studying for that. So just me and Dan today, unfortunately for you guys. This is episode 17.
It's 18.
18. Holy crap.
Yeah, you never know the numbers.
I never know the numbers. 18. This is my job. I do the
I know.
intro. This is episode 18, and we're doing this episode today on a Thursday because this is our last week here at Stevenson for the winter semester, and we're going home after this, so we're not going to be here on our Sunday, so we're doing it today. Mm-hmm. And the main points we're talking about today, because what just happened... Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm still figuring out.
All right, you want me to take over?
No. Yeah, you got it.
All right. So, first off, next week we'll call it our season finale, our mid-season break, if you will. After Star Wars, a big Star Wars show, on next Sunday,
the Skype session.
19th. I think Sunday's the 19th.
17th. No, Sunday's the 19th is Saturday because 17th is the Thursday.
Okay, so the 20th.
Yeah.
So December 20th, we're gonna have a big Star Wars show. We're gonna be very giddy and excited, hopefully, and not Jar Jar Binks disappointed for that. And then we're
Jar Jar's not in it.
Thank God.
Yeah,
or Ewoks.
I saw the Ewoks thing. I was like, no.
I could take it or leave it with the Ewoks.
I mean, yeah, but like seeing them would be pretty cool.
Yeah. But so that'll be our mid-season finale for that.
And to have Jar Jar there, by only having him in like the first three and not having him in like the new three or the old three, it's just weird.
I don't really give a fuck about him.
I like Jar Jar Binks. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm a fan of Jar Jar.
All
right.
So yeah, we're gonna take a break there, and we'll come back full force about a month later, January 22nd ish. Just because it's easier later. It's just easier for us to trying to get together is a pain and everything like that, and the sound quality is not as good and everything like that. So we figure just take a little break. And yeah, there's the Oscar season now, so you won't get our reviews of those movies. We can still maybe just throw up a quick little synopsis on Facebook of what we thought of them and Twitter and stuff,
opinions on things that are going on.
But you won't get to hear our lovely voices for a month. So go back, maybe listen to some old episodes, or just cry about it, or whatever you need to do,
or just not give a shit. Like probably most of you will.
Right?
Yeah.
So the 8 of you that do enjoy this, moms and people in Netherlands and stuff like that. You know, I actually been listening, or not listening. I always check. I told you I like to see what countries and stuff are listening to. We're getting some, not a whole lot, but we're getting more and more countries every time I look. I swear, we got like 3 in the Netherlands, 3 in Spain, 3 in
all right.
England, Canada, Mexico. Like we're Germany.
That's
I think
really cool. Hello to our international friends.
Yes,
we love to hear from you guys.
Right.
Don't be afraid to tweet at us or Facebook us. We try to friend everybody and follow everybody on Twitter and Instagram. So don't be afraid to do that. We love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be one of the more fun parts, to interact with you guys as fans and get your personal opinions on some things.
Even if you're not fans of us, just fans of like what we talk about week after week, just let us know, because then we know to continue talking about it or not to talk about it anymore if nobody cares about that and they just skip through it.
Yeah, or things you guys want to hear us talk about. We love to hear that as well. We definitely want to make sure that we're appeasing you guys.
And we always try to, like, I know when we were watching Arrow for the first time Wednesday, there was a trailer for some show, I think on Sci-Fi or something, coming up, and you, Greg, asked me, you're like, oh, should we be paying attention to this? I can't remember the name of the show, and I guess it wasn't that important, but for the sake of this show or whatever. And I was like, I don't think so. I think we'll be okay, whatever. But like, we try to always look out for comic book kind of shows, or shows that would appeal to a mass audience, like an Arrow.
So if
or
you guys
Flash.
have any suggestions on shows that you want us to talk about or give our opinions on, tell us, tweet at us, DM us, comment on our Facebook messages and our posts. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah. So this week, it's probably going to be a pretty short episode. Greg just doesn't know how to feel. Greg.
Oh my God! So I just watched Wednesday's episode of Arrow tonight. Unfortunately, I got drug away for a work thing.
Drug away?
I felt like I was drug away. For a work thing. So I missed everything that happened after Damien took Felicity, Thea, and Diggle.
Right.
And I just watched it today. And
I rewatched it with him.
I almost cried. I'll be man enough to admit. I almost cried at the end.
So we're just going right into Arrow.
I think we're just going to right into Arrow. We'll talk about Flash after this because we're going to talk about both the mid-season finales.
That's our main things of the show. I mean,
that's pretty much what we're talking about. We'll be talking about some other things maybe if we get off some side tangents. But mainly we're just talking about the Flash and Arrow just because it was the mid-season finale and it's an important thing to talk about.
Right.
So we saw that and I almost cried. And I was on the I did not. I was close.
I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. You almost did for sure.
It was very close to a Moira Queen moment from season 2 for me, where I actually did cry. That was really emotional for me. But this episode, if I didn't know, all right. So future spoiler alerts for anybody who's listening to this. If I didn't know that Felicity wasn't going to die, I wouldn't be sad.
Why don't you think she's gonna die?
I don't think she's gonna die because it's Felicity, man. She has so much. You just proposed.
But it was Moira, man.
I know it's Moira, but Moira's time was coming up. What the hell else was Moira gonna do?
True.
You know what I mean?
I think it's swifter without her.
They just proposed and it was beautiful and it was romantic and they just set it up and to have that and legitimately kill her off the show. Mm-hmm. That's just a dick move. I'm sorry. It's just a dick move, man.
I don't know. Well, all right. Stepping aside from her death, because that was only the last couple of minutes, her possible death, how did you like the story as a whole? Because obviously we get more into John going after his, like talking to his brother.
Yeah.
Can he pull him out of this darkness? No pun intended.
Yeah. There were only some strong moments I felt. This episode especially, because they were trying to bring out the drama. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of overly dramatic scenes that I was like, okay, just like speed up the storyline a little bit.
Right.
Such as Damien coming into the Christmas party. I thought that was overextended. His lines, I thought it was funny. I thought it was charming. But at the same time, I was like, just like kill him or whatever.
He's better when he says less.
Yeah. Like he says less, but he's quick.
Right.
Like when he's doing his like long monologues where he's like trying to be funny and trying to be like a sarcastic fun villain, it's like it's okay, but like just get on with the show. Mm-hmm. But I mean, as a whole, I liked it a lot. I thought it's probably top 3 episode of the season.
Of the season.
Season, I have to say. But just the way they set up everything. The most shocking part to me. For the ending was the fact that Damien Dark has a family.
Yeah.
Which just blew my mind. Initially, I thought it was going to be Oliver's hoe. I don't know what else to call her.
His but baby mama.
Baby mama. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Baby mama and his son. I thought that's who he was going to see. I thought he figured it out that he had a kid. Spoiler: Damien Dark, Oliver Queen has a kid, and I thought that's who it was going to be. But he has a family. That's just crazy to me that he has a family.
I kind of think that makes me less interested in Damien Dark.
That makes me more interested.
Really?
Because he's not just this dude who runs the hive and is this bad guy. He has a story behind him. He has a family. He has a life.
I think it kind of diminishes him a little bit to me.
I don't think it does. I think it expands him.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, think about it. When we saw the fact that Hawkeye had a family in Avengers 2, we were, like, amazed. We were dumbfounded. We were like, oh, this is so cool. He has a family. I think the same way. Because I think it expands, and you always talk about this, Dan. You always talk about expanding the world.
That's
you don't
true.
like the world being too small. This expands the world by revealing that he has a family.
Right.
That's huge for Team Arrow. They could exploit the shit out of that. Mm-hmm. Hold the kid hostage. I don't know.
Well, hopefully not. Because then that makes them criminals just as much as him.
Well, I mean, not really.
Kidnapping?
It's better than killing people.
It's still a crime.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm sure Hugh
everybody's
Jackman
shit stinks, but
Jake Gyllenhaal's gonna come into town.
Yeah.
Who abducted these children
and blink a lot.
He does blink. That's so weird.
Well, he does that in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, it's just that movie. He's doing that.
Oh yeah, I saw a clip of it because it was on FX the other day, and I meant to watch it when it was on FX, and I'm not.
Have you not seen it before?
I've never seen it before. I really wanted to when it came out,
good.
but I was watching the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal's reviewing his interview with whatever.
Paul Dano's character?
Yes. So that was really interesting. But Yeah, I guess it makes sense because in Jarhead, he's very like wide-eyed.
Yeah.
Which Jarhead's one of my favorite movies that he's in.
Uh-huh.
I think he does a really good job of that. I think it's a good movie overall. But anyway, yeah, I think it expands the character of Damien Darhk, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this newfound information.
Mm-hmm. They might not ever find out, though. It might be one of those things where, like the old Hitchcockian theory that if you put a bomb under the table and let the audience see it, but the cast member or the cast doesn't know about it, you want to just yell at them like, "Hey, there's a bomb under the table! Like, stop it!" Like whatever. So we know this piece of information that they don't.
But I'm excited to see it develop, and I'm excited to see more interactions with the family, with Dark's family, with him and his family, and I'm excited to see Team Arrow possibly figuring it out, or just what's gonna happen. Maybe Andy Diggle knows so much about Dark because he's been with Dark so long that he actually knows about the family.
Maybe. And Andy Diggle just seems so useless to me. Like his story hasn't grabbed me yet.
It hasn't grabbed me because
I don't particularly like the actor that's playing him. While he does look like John Diggle,
I don't mind.
I don't
to me,
think
he's not an actor. It's the way they're bringing him up, and I don't believe what John believes, that he was a good guy. I don't believe that. I believe what Andy's saying, that he was always, a bad guy, ran drug rings in Afghanistan, whatever he did. I believe that part. I'm not believing John's half. And for me, that's not making me as emotionally invested as Andy as I think the writers want us to.
Right.
I think it's making him seem like he's just been a bad guy, always been a bad guy, and he's never going to change. Mm-hmm. I want to see it John's side. I was hoping to see it John's side because I wanted more emotion out of that. I wanted to bring that storyline alive and really show it off for the audience and really help bring Andy's character into Team Arrow. I'd love to see him in Team Arrow as like another Black Anito. You know what I mean? But yeah, I totally agree. I think his character right now is just not going anywhere.
No.
But hopefully after the mid-season break, they'll develop it a little bit more. He might talk a little bit more. He might get a little bit more involved. I don't know.
Hopefully get him out of like the behind the cell kind of thing. Like, yeah, he should be kind of like watched over, but you don't have to like keep him in a cell. Like maybe they bring him and kind of show him his family from a distance.
Yeah.
Or
I wish Diggle would not be so accusing of him. Like just to be like, you did this. Why did you do this? I thought you were this. Like I wish Diggle would just shut up and would just listen to him. And just like listen to what Andy did. Just like, all right, just tell me everything. I want to hear everything.
He's pointing out all his bad flaws or whatever.
And it's not going anywhere. Like every scene with Andy is just a scene on repeat.
Kind of, yeah.
It's a him telling him, tell me what you know. I'm not telling you anything. I thought you were this. Well, I'm actually this. Okay, bye. Like that's all those scenes are.
Jumping a little bit, we finally got to see Laurel be useful.
Yeah, Laurel was kind of useful this episode.
It was nice. When I was watching the party scene, I was kind of like, "Hey, Laurel's not here. Like, I wonder why that is or whatever." And it made total sense, and it was a good thing that she wasn't there because obviously she was not captured, and then was around to help or whatever. But I don't know why she wouldn't have been there.
She's just there. She was tending to the hotline because she actually has a job. Right, she actually works for the government, for the state, or for the city, or whatever.
She's a lawyer, so I guess that makes sense.
So she's like working for the hotline, which is why she wasn't there, and that's also how she figures. To me, of the way she found out that Quentin worked for Dark was pushed.
How did she find out? I forget.
The hotline.
Really?
Somebody from the hotline said that Quentin Lance works for Dark.
Oh, that seems like a weird throwaway.
It's a weird push because like. Who observes that? Who observes? Oh yeah, I remember seeing our police chief hanging out with this guy. Like no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a throwaway. It was a cop out. I'll be honest.
For sure.
With sharing that information, but at the same time, I don't know because we still have to see yet what Damien's gonna do now that Quentin has like officially betrayed him. So that's going to be an interesting part after the mid-season finale and how this keeps developing and developing and developing. So, I don't know.
And I was the same way with Quentin when he asked Malcolm, like, why can't you just get a couple of your ninjas to get on him or whatever? Like, you have an entire fucking army, and yet you don't like, oh, I can't get involved. Like my guy's involved.
Yeah, but then he's like fully getting involved, and I was really concerned that he was gonna unmask the Green Arrow and see that it was Malcolm and realize, oh, this isn't the Green Arrow. This is freaking Ra's al Ghul.
Right.
And then that was gonna start a thing. So I was really concerned for that. But yeah, I agree with that. Like, if they could have disguised the League more, like if they didn't make them look like they were League members, he could have had guys there.
Right. He easily could have had, like, because he throws them away like any other time, but God forbid he goes up against Damien Dark. It's like, no, I can't do it. Malcolm just seems like usually acts kind of like a bitch, like he's afraid of everything, but then like plays it off like
the line he said in this episode was like, I'm not afraid of most things, but I'm like, no, bitch, you're afraid of everything.
Yeah,
you really are. Like every episode, you're like, you don't know what powers you're dealing with. I'm like, it's the same powers I was dealing with episode 1 of season 1. Like, calm the F down.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally enjoying him as Ra's al Ghul yet. I think he was better as just Malcolm Merlin, the Dark Archer, or whatever.
It's because I don't see him. It's because we don't see him as Ra's yet.
Right. We don't ever really see him at all.
Right.
I mean, he's only popped up 2 or 3 times.
He's popped up a couple times throughout the season, but he's only popped up and came to be Thea's dad.
Right.
That's the role he's playing when we see him.
You're right. Yeah.
And because we're now in season 4, not season 3, where the League of Shadows is now the overarching villain of the show, we're not really seeing Malcolm as a Ra's al Ghul, whatever. And because of that, I don't know. It's just not.
Right, because they
bouncing around.
They feel like the writers feel like, oh, we moved on from League of Shadows. We don't need to keep seeing them.
Uh-huh.
But it's like we kind of do because it's under new leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that could be a totally different league now. More Nyssa. I mean, I'll never have enough Nyssa, but
love Nyssa.
Nyssa's great.
So
Katrina Law,
so hot.
She's great. Yeah, I would love to see her like go after Malcolm, like for her to try and take the Ra's al Ghul spot or like stuff like that. I think could be more interesting, or maybe they'll do it the second half. But like, or see him almost, since they can't really do a Suicide Squad team anymore. Maybe they do a Ra's al Ghul and his minions team, League of Assassins episode, where they have to team up with them or something. I don't know.
Like, yeah, it's the problem of we're being so used to seeing the League of Shadows from season 3. We're not seeing it in season 4, but we keep seeing Malcolm. Therefore, we affiliate him with the League of Shadows, and we want to see more League of Shadows.
Right.
Which, I mean, I think the presence of Malcolm is really important because he knows the most about Dark.
Right.
Which is even that not much.
No.
But he's still helping out a great deal. He's helping Thea out with the bloodlust, which is fine.
I want to know so much more about that.
I do too. I really want to figure out why Damien can like hold her down.
He basically cured her.
Yeah.
I think it's gone now, right?
I don't know if it's gone, but like
for a while
it hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's all very, very interesting stuff. So I think it's just us as audience members just feeling that just because we're so used to season 3, and it's just us trying to not focus on that and focus on the Hive and the current problem that's happening right now.
Yeah.
I think that's
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Hive and Dark, because sometimes I really dig, like, I mean, I love the actor Neil McDonough. I think
great.
McDonough. I always say his last name wrong, but I think he's great. But I'm not like totally so interested in Hive, and I think it's just because, like, it's all Damien Dark.
Yeah.
There's no real like other. I almost kind of want a bad guy of the week in a couple episodes that are connected with Hive, but all we get is him and his ghosts that are all like masked up.
And like the problem I have is like, well, again, I'm used to the Hive that's from like Teen Titans, where it's like the school of kids with super people. Yeah.
Yeah.
This Hive is just brainwashed soldiers.
Right.
You can't develop brainwashed. The only one who could develop is Andy, and you're not. It's not even happening right now. Mm-hmm. You can't develop brainwashed soldiers. The only person you can develop right now is Damien Dark. And again, you're developing him, writers and creators of Arrow, with doing the whole family thing. That's a huge step in developing the character. But I agree. I'd like to see. I don't know. I just wish Hive wasn't brainwashed soldiers. I wish it was like kind of like League people, where they're actually like giving themselves to the Hive willingly.
Right.
In order to fight for what they believe is right.
Like, how interesting would it be to have some of the older villains that have been in season 1 or season 2 somehow come back that aren't dead,
Hive,
and they're part of Hive all along? Mm-hmm. They just come back into the circle. Like, I'm sure there's like Arrow hasn't killed all of them.
And then what was the Plan Genesis? Is that what they called it?
Oh, with the corn or something?
Yeah, well, like whatever, like
with
board of trustees members were like at the Hive headquarters, which
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a play onto the light. For those of you who have seen the Young Justice animated series, I thought that's what that was for a second, but I guess it's not. But yeah, the whole like corn thing,
Yeah.
and like growing of the algae, that was weird. That was like a random thing that I think was supposed to be random because we're supposed to be thinking about that until next time, and hopefully they'll talk about that more after the mid-season finale. But I was like, oh, okay, they're growing corn
in a basement with air
in a basement. Yeah, like they like it's something with the algae that they're trying to create some sort of oxygen. And when Damien was talking to Oliver about the gas chamber, he was like really like focusing on that gas chamber for like a good portion of his talk. And I was like, oh, that's probably something interesting. So I think it might be. Think of, if any of you have played the Arkham Knight game, think of the gas cloud that Scarecrow put over Gotham City.
or like in Batman Begins.
I think it's going to be something like that, or it's some form of toxic air that's going to kill everybody.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm going to guess right now. It's a soft guess, but I'm going to guess that's what they're planning for right now with the whole algae and oxygen thing. Because if they can control oxygen to do this, what else can they control it to do?
Right, but why corn? Why are we growing, like, just to have people eat it, like ingest it that way?
I think it was just a random plant they decided to grow, and I guess it's better than marijuana. Not to put on a CW show.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know. It seems weird. Like,
well, and aren't they still interested in Alpha and Omega? Isn't that still a possibility?
I don't think they've talked about it since.
I thought they had that.
Season 3.
I thought Damien had that in his possession.
No, they really haven't got into his powers much either. Like they obviously show him using them, blocking like the arrows or like force choking Malcolm.
Right.
But like, and he says that one like spell or whatever right before he blows up, which was barely explained.
It was barely explained, but I mean, you can basically just infer that it was something to like protect himself from the explosion.
Right. But then in like next scene, he's up walking around. No
yeah,
scars.
That was a weird. If I was shooting that, it would have been somebody like talking, and then Damien would have like popped out of like a dark corner to show that he was still alive, because you want to instill in the audience that you should still be afraid of this guy because you can come back to life. But by just like literally just having him the first shot when they switch back to the Hive headquarters is like, oh, okay, like that was.
They're walking down.
It could have been more dramatic. It could have been more climactic, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but yeah, and like the first or second episode of the season, they're like having him open that cabinet and like doing the blood thing. Whatever. We haven't seen him do that since.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe hopefully they'll touch on it again mid-season. We're waiting for all this after mid-season stuff, but I agree. I think they should get more involved in the magic. I hope Constantine comes back.
Yes.
To help explain some stuff. Next season we look forward to Roy coming back, which is really exciting.
The next half, yeah.
Which could be also who's potentially in the grave. It's a throwaway. It's a cop out.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing him back for 2 episodes and all of a sudden he's dead. Dan, do you want to share your theory of why Felicity's not dead?
Okay, so if you consider the show has always, and Flash as well, they've always tried to keep it pretty much in real time, right? So when the show premieres every season in October, it's supposed to be October in the show, right? And then so like Oliver and Felicity were in Coast City from May till about October.
Over the summer they were
right, basically the whole summer, yeah. So if you think about it, 6 months from the premiere, which would have been October, and then they bounced ahead and they said 6 months ahead, and that's when they show you the grave. It would have been, let's see, November, December, January, February, March, April. So it would have been almost the end of the season, close to the probably episode 21, 22, somewhere in there. Maybe
probably
20,
and then give 2 episodes to recuperate and figure out a plan.
Right. So let's say it's episode 20. Okay, we just had episode 9, right? And it's in their show is the Christmas episode. So the timeline wise, it doesn't line up. So like in that way, it can't be Felicity, because unless for some reason they hold off her funeral until the spring, which would be weird. I feel like they would want to just bury it.
Or she's like in a coma or something.
Right, which I guess that could be like what we're looking ahead to.
Uh-huh.
But I think to have her in a coma and then have her die, I'd be like, I'd just rather just have her die real quick.
Die dramatically, yeah.
Be just done and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think Felicity's going to die either. I think you and I still stand by the idea that it's probably going to be the baby mama.
I hope it's her mom, because I think it would be so much more interesting to keep Felicity around, have that tension come back up, and now he has to raise his son with his new
and the
bride
fact
to
that
be.
Damien figures out that he has a family, and which maybe can be a thing. Maybe Team Arrow finds out that he has a family, and Damien's like, I wonder if Oliver has a kid, and then finds out Oliver has a kid.
Right.
So I mean,
it could be like, do I kill you and you like your family has no father, or do you kill me and like my family has no father, kind of thing. And it could be like a weird, like a cool interaction between them.
Yeah,
now,
I bet that happens.
I hope that
I
happens.
would totally believe that exact scene where they're talking about the fatherless children.
And it could be a thing like with season 2 where he doesn't kill Slade. He just kind of captures him and sends him off to a prison and then poorly handles him when he comes back. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But hopefully with Damien Dark, they actually send him off and use him well. So
Dan and I were talking about earlier that if it was John, I'd probably cry more if it was Felicity.
You would cry more for John than Felicity. Yeah.
Yeah, and I say that because I was saying we've been with John since day one, and especially this season, I think he's probably one of the characters who's grown the most.
Yeah, although I think his retrust in Oliver was a little quick. I felt like it was only like an episode or so, and I think something as big as what Oliver did would take more time than that.
I mean, I think it was about like episode 3 or 4 until he totally forgave him.
Yeah.
And even then, like, it's still like but like even so, like the bromance is so strong between them right now. Like John's going through this stuff and Oliver's being there for him as a friend. Like it's just getting so emotional right now. And if it was John, I feel like it's not enough time for him to keep going. Like John needs more time to do his John thing.
Right. And I mean, that being said, John has a lot more behind him, as I was saying, as we were coming into the station here. He has, his Lila, he's got his daughter Sarah, he's got Andy's wife and daughter, son. He's got Andy, so like he's got all of these people that are kind of like backing him up or whatever. And then he dies would be like, oh my God, what about it? This person or this person. So whereas Felicity, unfortunately, just has her mom and like Oliver.
Did your brother get you that shirt?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Hobbits and movie set.
Dan's little brother went to New Zealand for the summer.
New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji for 3 weeks. He got to go to Hobbiton, and he doesn't even watch the movies like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. He doesn't. I tried to watch. I said, Kyle, if you're gonna go to Hobbiton, you got to at least watch The Hobbit so you can kind of like recognize it. All right, I'll watch it. So I put him on. Within 40 minutes, he's out cold sleeping.
And what time were you watching the movie?
Like the middle of the day, like like 3:00 on a Saturday. Like we try, or maybe even earlier because the movies are long. Like I figured we built some time in it, and he's like, within 40 minutes, like I said,
that's fun. Out.
And I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna shut this off. Like I had recently watched them, I don't need to watch it again. And The Hobbits. I mean, I was telling you guys, I don't think. Oh, it was on here. I think it was last episode where Peter Jackson basically admitted he's like, yeah, I fucked up. Because he didn't have the time to prepare.
It might have been 2 episodes ago, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think I would have been fine with having the production being delayed a little bit for them to really like make more better decisions with it.
But what would those decisions have been?
More style things, like for example, like Guillermo del Toro worked for let's say a year and a half in prep, right? Picking what the sets would look like. And obviously a lot of it was pre-done because of what the Lord of the Rings already did, because of like what it has to become. So like I'm sure it wasn't a lot of creativity, but at the same time there probably was, as far as like what the like natural orcs were, because there's artificially made orcs, which were like the Lord of the Rings bad guys, and then there was like actual orcs as in like creatures, and like so they look different. So I think Guillermo del Toro, who's a fantastic visual director, probably had his own ideas of what they should look like, what this village should look like that we hadn't seen before or whatever. And then for whatever reason he left, I don't know what the reason was, with say 6 months to go to shooting. And of course it's going to be like a long shoot. This was back when it was 2 movies, but they were still going to be shooting for almost 8-9 months because they do it back to back. And then Peter Jackson, since Del Toro left, figured, all right, I'll just direct it because he was just going to produce. Mm-hmm. And so he now had to work with 6 months of prep time to try and create all of his visuals, maybe use some of Guillermo's, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. But with Lord of the Rings, he spent like 2 years on prep. Right. And that's why Lord of the Rings are close to masterpieces, you know?
Right.
And so he got to really make them their own, whereas these he kind of rushed just because he wanted to get them going. And obviously it would have cost money to
continue to do
to delay them, to prep more and stuff like that. But it couldn't have been that much money. And what they could have just done is say, all right, not decide to do a third movie, kept it the 2 that it was, because even 2 was almost too much, because you probably could have done it in one really long ass movie or 2 shorter movies, like 2 1 hour 45-minute movies, and people would have been, I think, fine with it. Because with Lord of the Rings, it was 1 book, 1 movie. That made sense. With this, it was taking 1 source material and dividing it into 3 movies. It's like how they do it with Hunger Games. They did it with the Harry Potters, where they take the last book and divide it up because they want to make more money. That's really, no matter what the filmmakers and the crew and cast and all this stuff, they'll say to you, it's to make more money.
Right.
Because why make 2 movies when you can make more money with 3? You know? So, yeah.
Well, if you guys stop paying attention to that, like I did 5 minutes in.
He fell asleep like my brother did. Long story short, I'm wearing the Hobbiton shirt.
Anyway, no, I was paying attention to that. I agree. It makes sense that stylistically with 6 months.
It didn't match. And the other thing was, and I'll just real quick, was the Lord of the Rings were obviously shot on film and with CGI and edited digitally. These were shot digitally with digital effects and like all this stuff. And with special effects, special effects hold up so much better on older movies than they do with newer movies because of how they were shot. So, for example, Terminator 2, one of the best examples of visual effects, special effects, right? The Liquid Terminator, like all this stuff, that was made in 1992. So, 23 years ago? And it still holds up. Like, you watch it and it's still, like, pretty solid visual effects, right? Why does that work? Well, because what they would do is they're putting the visual effects on top of actual scenes, right? You're actually on location, you're actually outside, you're actually in this tunnel, whatever it is. Nowadays, there's so much green screen, like for the prequels of Star Wars, that when you go to put the visual effects, you're visually affecting the background because it's a green screen, and then on top of that, putting the creatures or whatever. So you're putting like visual effects on top of visual effects, and it just looks too cartoony. It's like with the turtles,
right?
They just don't like look as real as they could be. Now, obviously, they look decent,
right? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 2 trailer just dropped today. This morning.
It's supposed to be this morning, but it came out last night because that's how the internet works. And we'll just talk about that real quick because it has Stephen Amell in it. He plays Casey Jones. This is the sequel to the 14 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which had Megan Fox, and it was produced by Michael Bay. So that tells you what the movie's about right there.
We're not big fans of Michael Bay here at Geekcast. No. We understand his directing style.
What style? There's no style.
You're right. There's no style. It's just explosions.
It really is.
I mean, but like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, they can't really. There's nothing about. And then there's Megan Fox, who he just kind of puts on there. She was not a very good April O'Neil. Like April O'Neil.
I feel like he just has sex with her on the side.
That's actually a true thing.
Is it really?
Do you remember how she wasn't in the last Transformers?
Yeah, she has sex with him.
Well, I just found out today. It's funny because we were talking about this at my work party. That she thought that movie Jonah Hex that she was going to be in was going to be like the next big thing or whatever, and I guess was like kind of giving him shit about it, like I don't need you, like I'm going to be in this movie, blah blah. And then I also found out that she was supposedly like sexually assaulted by him or something crazy like that, and I kind of believe it. But I guess they've made amends. I don't know how you make amends from that, but they have, and so now she's back in. I don't think she'll ever be in the Transformers movies because Shia LaBeouf's not in the Transformers movies, but they've made amends enough for her to be put in that, and it's literally was just like a placement. I don't think she was ever actually meant for the role. I don't think she's good at the role.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have had someone a little more softer, a little more like nerdier.
Yeah, not as like Megan Fox is like strongly attractive.
Right.
Like she's the type of girl.
She's distractingly attractive.
Yeah, like she's the type of girl that if she walks into a coffee shop that every guy is turning her head to check this girl out.
Right.
I agree. I think it should have been more of like a quieter, attractive girl.
Like I don't know why this actress popped in my head, but like Amanda Seyfried, someone like that.
Yeah, something like that. Where she's like she's moderately attractive, but she isn't like head-turningly attractive, which is no insult to Amanda Seyfried at all.
No.
But I mean, compared to like,
or even like an Emma Stone would have been like an interesting version. Someone of that capacity.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, you can believe her as being a reporter or, you know, like getting along with the turtles. She just didn't fit for me. And so like that was one of many issues for me. The turtles didn't look that good for me. Raphael, like I liked what they were going for. They tried to make each of their faces fit an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
So like Raphael, who's my favorite of the turtles, looked like Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why he's my favorite. I just think his whole character is cool. Leo looked like Russell Crowe.
Mm-hmm.
Donatello was Bill Murray, and Michelangelo.
Donnie's my favorite.
Was he might have been Bill Murray.
He was probably Bill Murray.
I can't think of what Donatello was then.
I'll look it up.
You have to look, but they based their like turtle faces off of these like famous people, which is like okay, that's pretty cool. The Johnny Knoxville as voicing Leo, I thought was a good choice. I understand why he didn't do the movements for him or like the mocap for him, but yeah, it didn't really work for me. The story wasn't great. Again, that's a Michael Bay for you, where it's just a lot of explosions, a lot of action, flashy stuff, but then it's so you kind of forget about the story. But the story to me is so important.
Leo is based off of Russell Crowe and Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
Michelangelo is based off of Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, right.
Donnie's based off of Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, okay.
And
Yep.
Raphael's based off of Eastwood. And Splinter's based off of Toshiro Mifune, who is
from Seven Samurai.
Yep. Yes.
Who, fun fact, Toshiro Yoshimi, how does he say that last name? Yeah, him. I'm sorry to be butchering his name, but was considered to play Obi-Wan Kenobi before Alec Guinness.
Oh, was that guy who that article just came out about that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was considered, and I forget what the reasoning was, but because they didn't want samurais to be associated as Jedi, even though
they're basically based
they
off
are.
of them.
That's where they got the inspiration from. But he didn't want it to like ruin his cred, I guess, as like a samurai actor or whatever. Which I can respect and everything. And I think Alec Guinness obviously did a fine job, and then we ended up getting Ewan McGregor, and it worked out for the best. But yeah. So for the Turtles movie, though, it was just like, I don't know. I was never like, I like the Turtles. I think they're interesting, but I was never like, oh my God, the Ninja Turtles, like these are the best. I was very superheroes, and that's my focus. People are always like, oh, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. I was like, nah, superheroes for me. Like that was my thing.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, man.
Yeah. A lot of people are in our generation. A lot of people.
Dude, our sweet mate just got like a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards I saw recently. Or was it Pokemon cards?
Oh, I don't know.
I just saw he got a whole bunch of like trading cards. I don't know.
Yeah, but like it's still a very popular thing. People watch it.
I still play Pokemon. I bought a 3DS last year just so I could play the new Pokemon.
Right, exactly. Me, I would never buy a Pokemon game. Just it was never my thing, you know. I mean, I don't barely play video games anyway, but just in general, I never watch the cartoon. So when it's on in the morning,
oh my God, that Pokemon movie makes me cry every time.
When I watch it, I'm just not interested. I also don't really care for anime. I don't like that style very much. I love Japanese culture, but I just don't like their animation style. And I love animation, but yeah, it just doesn't click for me.
Well, I'm a big fan of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you guys want to talk about that, you can reach out to me.
Yeah, I think
Dan.
I think Patrick likes it too.
I think he's more into like the anime stuff. I don't ever hear him talk about like Pokemon and stuff.
We'll have to ask him next time.
I don't know. But we also have different friends. Our friend Jordan, who was on one of our episodes, is really, really big into anime. We haven't had him on in a while. We probably have him on sometime next semester.
And Seth and Mike. I know Seth tweeted at us saying that like a New Year's resolution was we should have Mike back on the show or something like that. And I was like, anytime. I told him anytime. They're fun people to have on there. Patrick wasn't here for Mike, so maybe we'll have to have them.
Yeah.
Come back on.
Get more mics.
Yeah, I have to always bring my extra mic, which it's not the biggest deal, but and it gets super hot in here.
Oh my God.
But it's pretty warm in here now.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty warm in here.
But this is the sacrifice we're willing to make for people.
Yeah, this is what we do for you guys.
I had to put pants on. You're welcome.
So anyway, we really enjoyed the mid-season finale.
Oh, wait. So for the Turtles trailer, I don't think Stephen Amell is going to be a very good Casey Affleck. There, I said it. Not Casey Affleck, Casey Jones. Thank you. I was like, Casey Affleck. That's not right. He's not a good Casey Affleck. No, but I don't think he's going to be good Casey Jones because he doesn't look the part to me.
He doesn't personify.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like this rocker kind of like heavy, like long hair.
I mean, if he was Oliver Queen on the first year of Leanne Yu, maybe. But
right, that nice wig he had. But yeah, like him with the short hair, just a hockey mask. The one scene he's running down the street like on rollerblades, playing hockey while being chased by this like alien thing, and I was just like, "What? Like what?" And he's shooting hockey pucks at people, which is what Casey Jones does, but he more or less beats the shit out of people with the hockey stick instead of hitting them with the pucks. So
I think it's just an entire like hockey thing.
Yeah.
I think he just beats up people with hockey.
I remember in the old like '90s movies, he had like a golf bag where he'd keep a hockey stick, a golf club, and like a baseball bat in it, and like that was what he'd run around with. I was like, that's kind of cool, and maybe we'll see it in the movie. I'll probably see the movie just because Stephen Amell's in it, and I like him, and we can talk about it and stuff, but I'm just not totally like sold on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a movie I'm like going to go on my way to see. If I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. It's not that big of a deal.
I think I watched the first one this year when it was on like Canadian Netflix, which I'm not going to tell you how I was able to get Canadian Netflix because I don't want them to shut it down. So, but I'll tell you off air.
Don't mess with the system.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we really enjoyed the mid-season finale for Arrow. We're really excited to see what they bring to us next half. But now to talk about the mid-season finale, Flash.
Yes.
Compared to Arrow, it wasn't as strong.
No.
It wasn't as strong. There were some emotional points. I think the strongest scene, I'm going to say the show, that I've seen is when, spoiler alerts, Iris tells Joe that he has a son.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene was just so powerful. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, man, you bring out your Rent acting skills. The guy who played Joe was also in Rent. He was one of the gay guys, I think. And it was just so powerful. It was just so emotionally draining. I was like, wow, this is like mid like shot. I was like, wow, this is really good. This is really good scene.
See, I thought you were gonna bring up one of the Patty scenes because I thought those were stronger. Where her and Flash. I'm trying to think which one was better.
The second one.
Probably the second one.
The second one where the second one where she's about to shoot the Weather Wizard?
Yeah. Versus the first one at like the factory where he's like, why are you working alone? And she tells him that whole thing. I'm not sure which one's stronger.
I'm going to say it's the first one then. I'm going to say it's the first one only because we find out how Patty's dad died and how she feels about her dad dying. I don't know. Does she confess at the second scene?
No, she confesses the first one.
That it should have been her?
The Flash, yeah.
Like, that was really strong. It's like, oh my God, that is just that would eat you up, like as a person. Like if you know that you were supposed to be there and you weren't because you decided to go dick around with your friends, and your dad's gonna kill, like that would suck. That'd be awful.
Because he was doing something you were supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that was a really really good scene. Big Patty episode. Definitely a big Patty episode.
Yeah, and I know Greg loves Patty Spivot.
I love Patty Spivot.
And I like Patty Spivot. I think she's a great
hot.
Character, but I like her so much more now because she seems so much more three-dimensional. Before, she was kind of like the funny, kind of quirky girlfriend, or almost girlfriend of Flash, Barry. But now she's like, okay, now she has a story. Now she has like a reason to be there instead of just like, I want to be a fun, like, stop bad guys. Like now she has like a purpose and stuff, so I appreciate her that much more. And I thought her like B storyline was much stronger than the main storyline, which is unfortunate to have to say that with Mark Hamill being one of the villains as the trickster, because he was of course phenomenal.
It was a super strong performance of Mark Hamill. Dan talks about this all the time, that this episode was probably the only time we're gonna get close to a real life Joker with Mark Hamill playing it. Because the way Mark Hamill plays the trickster is so Joker-esque. I mean, the voice he does is very similar to the voice he does in the video games and the animated series. Compared to the games, all like the toy stuff is something the Joker does, which is it's so good. It's just so good the way he does it, and like every scene is just like, oh god, that was great. Oh, I'm loving this scene. This is so great.
Although a couple of times it still seemed a little reserved. I wanted to see a little bit more like excitement from him. He seemed a little tired. Like he was still doing a good job, but he seemed probably just a little tired. Like,
well, I think it's because of like, I don't know, when the Weather Wizard breaks out Cold and Trickster, he's trying to get them both on the same team. So I think it's tough to share time between two villains and get both villains like equal time. I mean, think about it. Any episode with Captain Cold and Heatwave, it's mainly Captain Cold. Not saying that we want to see more Heatwave, or saying that we don't want to see more Heatwave. You know, we want to see as much as we possibly can of everybody, but it's mainly Captain Cold. With this one, because Weathered Wizard was the main antagonist, and he's trying to drag out all these villains and trying to kill the Flash, it was mainly focused on him.
Right, but I would rather have been Trickster been the more focused.
Well, he should have broke out of jail.
Well, like it could have been Weather Wizard breaks him out of jail, but then like Trickster's like, okay, I'm doing like you're following me kind of a thing. Speaking of Cold, I like what they're doing with him. That he's kind of like torn now. Like he questions everything he does now. Where it's kind of like I don't want to be a good. Like he doesn't want to admit that he wants to be a good guy or like he wants to help them. But at the same time, I mean, he waited in Barry's house to be like, hey, you're about to get some shit happen to you. I'm not a part of it, but there's some shit coming. He's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Like
Barry was super pissed off about it. He's like, hey, fuck you, dude. I just like gave you this information.
Yeah, next time I'm not going to tell you now.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I'm not much of a hero. And I, of course, turn to Greg and I go, what about being a legend?
Yeah.
So
that was clever.
Hopefully, that's probably when we'll see him next. He'll probably just disappear now, and then we'll probably see him again with Legends.
I mean, Legends is the first thing we're probably going to see.
Well, when we come back, they all come back.
We're going to see Flash again, but if you guys haven't seen the preview for Flash, Patty Spivak gets captured. Barry contemplates telling her, or was going to tell her that he is the Flash, and it honestly looks like what Arrow just did with capturing Felicity, where it's like a big emotional thing that's like potential like death. Whatever. Yeah. So it's going to be a super heavy episode coming out of this mid-season.
Right. So Cold probably won't come up until like the pilot, which will be 2 days later.
Mm-hmm. Which we're super excited for our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday hero show watchings of DC.
Right.
Really excited for that.
DC just kicks butt with TV.
They're killing the game. Dan and I have not been following Supergirl.
No.
We have not been.
Oh.
But
Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, I've been seeing the pictures
right when I stopped watching
Martian Manhunter, which is so cool. And I saw a picture like when we get to see Martian Manhunter and like King Shark on TV is who we're seeing these people as. Like and we see like it's not Doomsday, right? It's not Doomsday.
Now they're saying in Batman vs Superman it's not Doomsday.
It's some other character.
Yeah.
It's some other weird slimy villain. But like regardless, we get to see those people in motion capture. Like it's just so cool. It's just so cool that we get to see that happening.
Yeah. It almost made me want to watch Supergirl. But
it made
not
me want
right
to.
now.
It made me want to catch up just to see like that scene and like see where it goes from there. But
I'm probably just gonna wait. I'm assuming it's gonna be on Netflix, seeing as these other kind of shows are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably catch up.
I don't know. I feel like I have so much free time over this break. I just started watching Scrubs again for the 4th time.
Yeah, so you could probably watch something new then.
Oh, I gotta finish it. I gotta finish it. I'm only on disc 1, and I have the entire series, so I'm going through all the different audio commentaries and like whatever bonus.
He was telling me all about it. He's like, I watched the first episode.
He was watching it with me,
and then I watched the audio commentary of that episode.
Scrubs to me is just it's my favorite show. I think it's the greatest show that was ever made. It's just my opinion. It's what I think. I'm just a huge fan of Scrubs, but I'm just gonna watch Scrubs. I'm getting season 7 of Castle on DVD for Christmas, which I'm a huge fan of Castle as well. Nathan Fillion, I'm really hoping we see him as Booster Gold, knock on wood. And I'm also possibly getting the Linda Carter Wonder Woman series for Christmas. So I have a lot of stuff to watch, but if I can catch up on Supergirl over break, I think I might do it just to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's something I may watch someday, but right now I'm not that interested, especially with Gotham on Monday and Flash on Tuesday and then Wednesday Arrow. Now Legends is tomorrow on Thursday. It's like I'm going to be totally just like too many storylines.
Yeah, so drained. I mean, I think I'm missing Gotham again next semester because it's the same class, but it's like part 2 of that class. So it's like Law 2 is what I'm taking. And I shouldn't be missing it, but I may be missing Flash again on Tuesdays. But I shouldn't be missing it.
I plan my schedule around those shows. I don't know if you realize.
I might be missing some Arrow days too because of basketball games, but.
Why don't you just quit Team Flaro? Legends of Team Flaro then.
I'm like a founding father.
You know, we were talking
Team Flaro.
All me. But anyway, I was just talking about it with Krista last night that our team has decreased a bit since last year. Not really though, because we really only lost one, but then we gained KJ.
Well, we lost our friend Jake. Our friend Jake ended up transferring out.
Right.
Our friend KJ is just super busy all the time and is unfortunately not able to make it with us. And our friend MK is also not able to make us with this. So we normally had a team of 6 people, and now we're down to 4.
3, sometimes 4.
So we've lost 3, and we picked up another one. So I guess we're up at 4.
Right.
But
I mean, we've definitely lost members, but it is what it is. We're still going to go strong. We're still Legends of Team Flaro now.
Legends of Team Flaro is what we call ourselves.
Yeah, it's weird and dorky and stuff like that, but I'm sure there's other groups out there that call themselves Legends of Team Flaro.
Or even dorkier and geekier names. And
we're okay with it.
We're okay with it. If you want to share it with us, please share it with us. We'll be
excited
to get that.
Maybe we'll make a video about our experiences of Legends of Team Flaro.
Yeah, we can. We'll make a documentary of it. But
watch it
also with Flash, big thing happening is we finally see Wally West for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Just huge, super excited. They really didn't talk about him a whole lot. He just kind of showed up on the doorstep. I think the mom died. They didn't talk about it, but I think the mom died.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Francine.
We think Francine died, is why he's there. But we're really excited to see his character come to this world, and for him to get the speed, or if he doesn't already have the speed, to get it.
I don't think he does. I don't think we're going to see it probably till the season finale.
I think he's going to take the velocity drug, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Harry's going to better it. And we also see that Harry is now in cahoots with Zoom because Zoom is ever threatening his daughter,
Jessie Quick.
And
that's her superhero name, whatever.
And so that's going to be a big thing coming up after the break of what's going to happen to Harry, what he's doing for Doom, how he's handling Zoom. You're right. Why is it Doom? Zoom,
idiot,
and what he's gonna do with that. So I mean, I think this episode it hit on a lot of little things that are gonna be really, really, really important after the break.
Right. Both episodes were kind of like that,
where
they weren't huge game changers, but they set up a lot of nice things.
Arrow was a little more of a game changer. Actually, they both were game changers. If you take because Flash's game changer was a lot more happy emotional that we finally see Wally West, yay.
Yeah.
And Arrow was a lot depressingly emotional.
We're going to be a lot lighter this season.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. Berlanti. What the hell, man? I'm crying more this season than I have most seasons of your show. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I got to watch Greg cry. I don't really care for this.
Hey, man.
Berlanti, Kreisberg. All of you guys.
I get some Stephen Amell tears coming out of my eyes.
Single man tears?
Single man tears whenever this stuff goes down.
Yeah.
But I think we're both satisfied. We're both satisfied, and we're both looking forward to the break. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Excuse me. That was really gross.
That's not what we want to talk about.
Let's talk about this burp. No. Yeah, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, next week will be a big Star Wars one. Final thoughts, I guess, on
Star Wars?
What are you expecting from Star Wars? Good, bad?
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan compared to you and Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
And
I wouldn't say we're big. I'm not the biggest. Anyway, I know people could easily beat me in trivia.
You guys are huge fans, and you know the world. I really don't know the world a whole lot.
Right.
I know the characters. But my expectations, I'm not really going with any expectations. I've had no problems really with any of the Star Wars films. I recognize that other people, such as yourself, Dan, that have had problems with the remakes, And
prequels, not
prequels, and I totally get that. But even so, it hasn't been that big a part of my life where I'm like, this better be good, or I'm gonna be like really pissed. So no expectations, but I expect it to be a decent movie that I'm gonna be like, I want to see it again because I'm going to see it again. I'm seeing it the 17th. I think I'm seeing it again on Christmas Day, if not the next day with my cousins. But I want it to be a movie that I'm looking forward to the next ones that are coming out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good resurgence. And I was talking to actually Chris Reed about it today and Patrick, how most of its money, probably the opening weekend, is going to come from people that are just curious about what it is. What's the movie about, blah, blah, blah. It's whereas like when they come out with episode 8 and episode 9, those are going to be more or less like, well, we got to see what happens. Like this one, it's been 10 years since we've seen a Star Wars movie. It's been 30 years since we've seen most of these characters in full form. Harrison Ford's Han Solo and Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia, blah, blah, blah. So I think that part of it, like just kind of like, what are they going to do? You know, like J.J. Abrams is going to fuck it up, you know, like that's kind of stuff. So also we were talking about is we don't think they possibly could fuck it up because it's under J.J. Abrams, who really doesn't have a bad name to his movie for the most part. I mean, he doesn't have like a huge flop. Knock on wood. Let's not let this be the first.
Yeah.
And they're bringing the original trilogy cast back, which
is the good cast.
The good cast. Those movies were, I know that this word gets thrown around a lot, but they were, you know, masterpiece kind of movies for sci-fi genre, and you know they were just so complete, and they started it all. Everything bases off of those movies and everything like that. So you're bringing these characters back and continuing their venture while also bringing these new characters in. It looks like the old world, the actual sets, blah, blah. So I don't think it could possibly be bad, but it obviously could be worse than like the original trilogy movies. I don't think it's going to be worse than the prequels, though, because just as far as like as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there was things that worked in the prequels. I will say that. You know, certain castings, Ewan McGregor, of course, would be number one, as Obi-Wan was perfect. It got me through those movies, just following his story. I was just like, I didn't really care for Anakin's story. I really cared more for Obi-Wan's story all along in the prequels. I almost wanted it to be more like his story than Anakin's, but obviously I understood why it has to be Anakin's. I thought the Revenge of the Sith wrapped it up nicely. I thought, like, you know, it tied the trilogies together enough. Obviously, there's still some loose ends. It happens with other things, or you know, with everything. But I think I do have some expectations because, like you said, I enjoy Star Wars that much more than you do. Just because I grew up watching the movies. I remember having the original trilogy DVD, like special editions, and playing Star Wars with my friends in the yard and stuff, lightsaber battles and things like that. I have a Millennium Falcon in my attic, which maybe I'll bring to the apartment next year. Maybe, I don't know.
Sure.
This thing, it's like the size of like a pillow, and it's got like all the action figures. You could take the lid off and like I used to play.
Oh, yeah, one of those. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I got it, and we actually got it. Like I didn't get it for Christmas or anything. We got it from my mom's friend, who the son I graduated with, Steve, who I mentioned a while back on one of the episodes. He didn't want it anymore, and I was like, "Yeah, I want this. Like, I still want to play with it now." Like, you know. So we got like the Millennium Falcon. We got an X-wing with Luke that like kind of pilots it. We got a couple other spaceships from like Cloud City, like the red ones, like the little red wings that come out. We got like one or two of those. Like we actually got like a lot of shit. And so like I played with that for a while. I was racing around with the Millennium Falcon and stuff.
Nerd.
Super nerd when it came to Star. And I don't know. I really like those movies. So my expectations are a little high, but I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. And I'm going to a 10:30 showing on Thursday, a week from today. I will be 15 minutes into the movie. Hopefully, actually, with previews and shit, we'll probably just be starting it.
Done, and I would have been texting you.
No, you would not.
Spoilers.
No. I wouldn't look at my phone. I'm gonna shut my phone off so you can't tell me nothing.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay, you're gonna be like, this person died, and this one this is how Luke comes back, and I'd be like, fuck you.
I'm just gonna text you, Han dies. That's all I'm gonna text you, and you're gonna be like,
no, because it's probably gonna be true, and I'm gonna be really upset. It's probably gonna happen. Anyway, or Chewie, and I'm not. We've already talked about that, but I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but we'll be back for that week. That's Sunday, the 20th, to talk about that, and then we'll be on our hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
Is that everything you got to say?
No.
What else you have to say?
I had more about Star Wars.
More? Oh my God! No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So yeah, and I'm excited to see more of Han's story, Luke's story. Princess Leia's story, General Leia's story, and of course the new characters and their connections. Hopefully they're not all related and that kind of thing, because again, it makes the world smaller, and I want to see bigger universe. I mean, it's a galaxy, so like it should be huge. Like I'd actually be okay if they had no relation to, Rey or Finn or Poe or any of them. Like if they are all just like, let's be family, quote, but they're not blood related, that'd be fine with me.
I got friends, I got family.
Yeah. So like
sidebar. I just saw what would happen with the trailer for Cars.
Okay.
Was mixed in with the trailer for Fast and Furious, and it was so funny. Oh my God. Mater was like Vin Diesel's character. It was really good. Continue, sorry.
So, high expectations, but I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. I plan on seeing it at least 2 times over break. I'll probably see it a third when we come back. First time, I'll be seeing it at the 10 o'clock or 10:30, whatever, with an audience, which is going to be nuts. Seeing it with all these other Star Wars nerds that are probably bigger nerds than I am, to the point that they'll dress up. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to maybe wear a Star Wars shirt. I just don't want to
sit in the theater where people are talking the whole time.
I don't think that they will, because they'll have a respect for it. You'll probably get a bunch of claps and the woohoos and like things like that, but they're not going to be like whispering.
If someone's talking, like, I'm probably going to blatantly say, "Hey, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch a movie."
Right.
Because like I in any movie, no matter what it is, if I hear people talking, I'm like looking around. I'm like, dude, shh. Like I'm a shusher when it comes to movies.
No, I understand, but I think because especially with being a midnight showing,
yeah, but there's always gonna be that one guy.
There is.
He's been a fan since day one. The first time he saw Star Wars, and he was 10 years old, and he's gonna be talking like, "Oh, this is this character. Oh, I bet this. Oh, like."
Sure. Yeah, there's gonna be, and I think though, but there's gonna be so many fans like ourselves that have that respect that are gonna jump on them. That if know, and they'll shut them up real quick, kind of a thing. So I think seeing it with the audience, I'm getting like emotional. How you were getting emotional at the end of the episode, like. There's nothing going to be like when the lights go out, right? All the trailers are done, and all of a sudden you hear the the Star Wars logo comes up, and like the applause that's going to get is going to be unbearable. When Han Solo and Chewie come back on, like probably the line, which of course people are mistaking, but
Chewie we're home.
The Chewie we're home line. People are going to go nuts for it. A lot of people think it's because they're coming back to the Falcon. It just means like Chewie, we're home, like we're back on an adventure. So either way, you're going to get a big applause with that. You're going to probably get a big applause with all the main characters, especially when Luke comes back.
Especially when Luke, no matter what sequence it is, even if he is on the dark side, it's going to be a big cheer.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Him and Han probably get that.
If he's on the dark side, I'm just going to be like, what the fuck?
I don't think I want him on the dark side. I can see why it would be interesting.
I really don't care. I have no preference at all. Like, as long as it makes an interesting story and it's good, that's all I really care about.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story would be there that I could see why they would put him on the dark side, but I think he'd be a better mentor because he's the only Jedi, I mean, that we know of. So, anyway, that's enough of that. For Geekcast, the podcast, I'm Dan Whitehead.
My name is Greg St. Clair.
We will see you next week.
Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you check out our friend Lethal Llama on YouTube, and check out our friends The Young Poet.
And then after that, our long hiatus. Try not to miss us. Party on.
Party on.